Good morning, y'all. So every day we are getting closer and closer. It's all still little projects, but they're all little projects that have to get done for the house to be completed. I've got a little bit of running around today. You know I got to go to Lowe's, and then I'm turning my attention back to that clawfoot tub. Today is the day that we are going to re-enamel it. So here we go with another productive but busy day. All right, everyone, we are in the second floor bathroom, or as we call it, the clawfoot tub bathroom. You may notice that our plumbers came and set a bunch of toilets. So we have a toilet. Doesn't work, but we have a toilet. Don't have water yet, so don't have a toilet, but we have a toilet. Anyway, we're in here looking at the tub. So we got a coat of paint on the outside. See how good those legs look? So my first project is to clean this thing because it is nasty. And then after I clean it, I'm going to re-enamel it. First of all, gotta use some elbow grease and some cleaning and get it less nasty. So here's where we are. I have scrubbed it. And parts of it, like the back and the sides, they look great. As you can tell, the bottom has a lot of discoloration. We've scrubbed and scrubbed, and it's not anything that's going to come off. It is a stain, which is fine. We just want to get anything loose off. The other thing is there was a lot of paint along this side, so I used the paint scraper, got that. You can see the top has a lot of scratches. So I'm hopeful that when I re-enamel, it's going to cover all that up. So I've scrubbed it down. I am literally just rubbing over every inch to see if there's anything else that is raised. And if it is, we're scraping it off. The last thing I'm going to do is get a little bit of steel wool and work on these rust spots. And then let it dry overnight so it's good and dry. And then tomorrow we are going to do the enamel. I've done this a couple times and usually goes pretty easy. So fingers crossed it will on this one as well. The ones that I've done before were in worse shape than this tub. So that's our next step. All right, we are back on the tub project. I have sanded the whole thing with 400 grit sandpaper, which is absolutely nothing. Wiped it down with some lint-free rags. Hopefully we are good and lint-free. The next thing I'm gonna do is I got this Krylon tub refinishing kit. It comes in 2 parts. I have to mix both parts really well. Then I'm going to combine or stir both parts really well. Then I'm going to combine them and mix them really well. Then I have to let them sit for 30 minutes. So that's our next step. All right, it's been 30 minutes. Actually, it's been more than that because I get pulled in every direction. But we have mixed it up. We've let it sit for 30 plus minutes. We're gonna mix it again really good, and then we're gonna apply the first coat. In theory, I'm gonna start with the bottom and work up so I'm not like leaning over something I've already painted. Classy, how clean my hands are. All right, here we go. Okay, I said I was gonna start at the bottom, but then I realized, well, I'm never gonna lean over there. So starting on the far side. Then I'll do the bottom, then I'll do back up the side closest to me. It's very tacky. It is drying pretty quick. When you start doing it, you have 4 hours to work. And then after that 4 hours, then you have to wait 36 hours before you reapply. So we're gonna try to get it all done in the next 4 hours. And it says with multiple coats, it will even out. And I've done this a couple other times, and that's always been the case in the past. So let's hope that that continues to even out. All right, we're about halfway through. I have done 2 coats. It gets very tacky really quick, and we're still getting some brush strokes, but the more we do it, the more it's gonna even out. That rust, there was a little bit of rust around the plumbing holes, and they have evened out really well. So we're gonna let this dry a little bit before I do the 3rd coat. Like I said, I have a 4-hour window. I did the first 2 coats pretty much back to back. So we're gonna let this dry for a little bit. Okay, this is 4 coats. It certainly looks better than it did the first coat. It's covered pretty well. We had the window open because it's a pretty strong, potent chemical. And that allowed some little bugs to come in. So that was fun. So I had to pick some little black bugs out between the second coat and the third coat. But I think it's good. Now, we are running short on our 4 hours. So what I've got to do now is walk away from this and hope that when it dries, everything looks even. If it's not the case, then I'll have to buy another pack. And then I will have to start over after 36 hours. So fingers crossed that everything dries as evenly as it looks right now. The sides are really smooth. The bottom is not quite as smooth, but I think that's actually a good thing because it's going to give you a little traction and you're not going to slide down. So I'm really pleased with how it's looking so far. We'll really know more in 36 hours. And when we get some light in here, that's going to help. Good morning, everybody. We're over at the Hyatt house. We are headed up to the second floor. Let's go see the tub. It's set overnight. Hopefully we have a little better light. Let's go see how it looks this morning. Fingers crossed that it's perfect. All right, you're gonna see it when I see it. Here we go. Oh, well, I see a drip right here, but maybe we can sand that just a little bit. Okay. So we have a drip right here. You guys see that little drip? Little drip. I think we can smooth that out. I think it looks pretty good. The bottom still has that texture to it, but I think that was always going to be the case because the tub itself had a little bit of texture. Not too bad. All right, I'm back in the clawfoot tub bathroom, and after studying the tub, I'm just not happy with it. There's some spots that aren't smooth enough. There's a little bit of, it's not perfect. So I have decided, don't want to do it, but I'm going to do it. I am going to sand it down with a good, strong grit and start the whole process over. Here we go again. Okay, here's what we've done. We have sanded the whole thing with 80 grit sandpaper. I think I've hit every spot. I keep taking the light and shining on it because the way we got in trouble was it was too dark when I did that last coat. So I keep shining to see if there's any spots that don't look smooth. So I hit it all with 80 grit. Now I'm gonna go with 120. And then I'm just gonna work my way up until I feel like it's really, really smooth. And then we're gonna start over with the process. All right, so we sanded it with the 80 grit. I sanded it with the 120 grit. I spot sanded it in a few spots with, I think it's like a 200 grit. I hope that I've gotten all the dust off of it. I'm gonna do one more wipe down. And you know the drill now. We got to mix that 2-part adhesive or 2-part porcelain and then let that sit for 30 minutes. So that's our next step. Okay, so this time I used a foam roller instead of the brush, and I think it's really making a difference. I'm also going to do very thin coats. I use the foam roller every other time I've ever used this, and I don't know why I didn't just stick with what I knew worked. But I let somebody make a suggestion, and their suggestion was not a good one. So it looks pretty good. There's some dark spots where I sanded pretty deep, so I'm just gonna keep doing layer after layer of very thin coats. All right, so we have done 3 full coats plus a little touch up in some spots where I had sanded deeper than in other spots. So right now, I feel really good about it. We're gonna let it dry. We have about 30 more minutes in our 4-hour window. So we're gonna let it dry for maybe 15, 20 more minutes and then do one more check. But hopefully it is going to dry well. All right, so I never gave you an update after that last enameling. It's so much better. I'm so glad that we took the time to sand it down and start over because it is very much improved. In fact, you can see that the plumber's been here and has started roughing in, or not roughing in, but setting the fixtures. But my project today is, you see we've got the post for our shower head. We've got to get the shower ring up so that he can finish putting in the shower head because that little pole as it is not going to handle the weight. So that's what we're doing now. We've got to figure out the height that we want. You see we've got all these little pieces. We've got the handheld and this slides up and down. This is the piece for the, my cameraman's terrible. This is the piece that holds that shower ring. So we've got to figure out exactly where we want that and cut some poles. So that's our project. Okay, y'all, so that is a wrap of the clawfoot tub. I had hoped that we would get it all plumbed this week and we could see it in all its glory with its gorgeous brass hardware, but that didn't happen. So you're just gonna have to come back. You're gonna have to stay tuned to see that tub all set in place with the plumbing roughed in. So come back then and see what else is happening at the Hyatt house.